What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris, man. We are at it again, the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. Like I said, man, we're banging out shows, talking to the industry people, learning more about them, learning about their why, learning about why they get into sports, learning how they deal through things and navigate through challenges in order to keep that positive energy, that positive attitude of working at a job because everything ain't always easy. And certain people deal with certain things differently. And of course, talking about mental health, talking about work life social balance, but we also get into some fun conversations, talking about different things that they like, different things that they enjoy. So I have a special guest coming on. Her name is Marissa Bruno. She is a DAZN sports boxing producer. So we're gonna talk about some fights coming up. And without any further ado, I'm gonna bring her on to the show, baby. Work hard, play harder. Marissa, good morning. How we doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Just wanted to say thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. It's a podcast that pretty much I like to get to know people, highlight what they do, and also talk about their why. Why do you do what you do? And the different things that you have to navigate through as far as challenges, hurdles, obstacles in the industry. Because we all face them in different ways for sure. So I know you're a dozen boxing sports producer, so you know I got to talk to you about a couple of different fights that's coming up. I'm not sure if they're going to be in the DAZN or Triller or Showtime or whatever, but there's a couple fights a
Okay.
little later on I want to talk to you about. Wilder and Fury, definitely coming up this Saturday, and then the big fight for me is Canelo and Plant. I cannot wait to see that fight. And I definitely want to get your opinion on that a little bit later on for sure. But without any further ado, we'll start it up. And kind of what I want to ask you first off is talk to me about your childhood, your inspirations, who you aspire to be, and why did you gravitate towards a career in sports?
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll just get right into it then. So basically, childhood, I was born in Columbia,
Okay.
raised in Buffalo, New York. So I'm a
Okay.
big Bills fan. Yeah, my brother has Asperger's and which is like a form of autism. And one of the things that he loves the most is sports.
Yeah.
So growing up with him, that was kind of my introduction into sports. And I always wanted to do whatever he was doing. He was my younger brother, but he was my only sibling. So we were very close
Okay.
and grew up kind of going to Bills games, doing like the football thing. And honestly, just being like a casual fan of sports. Then in college, when I went to St. Bonaventure University, which is in Olean, New York, Western New
Yeah.
York, for people who don't know,
Yeah.
it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but it's a really cool school. I got involved with the athletic program there, just kind of on a whim. And from there, kind of accidentally got into sports, to be honest.
Mm.
I like sports casually, but nothing too crazy at the time. I was just like a regular person going to like sports games with my dad and my brother, and just kind of watching real fans really love the sport and just kind of wanting to be a part of that a little bit more. And then through college, I kind of was able to transform that into a career, which is kind of cool because it kind of goes to show that like anyone can really do this if you want
Yeah.
to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no matter what your skill level is, or even like your sports fandom level, you really can launch a career in this stuff as long as you stick to it and never give up, just because there's a lot of times where it's really difficult to get started. And I faced that myself like after college, but yeah, it's just, I guess that's kind of a little bit about me basically.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to touch up on a couple of things before I get to the next question because you kind of segued into my next question. But I'm actually going. My father lives in upstate New York, so he's about an hour away from Buffalo.
Okay,
Um,
okay, so yeah, you
oh
know
yeah,
that area. Okay.
oh yeah, definitely. I'm actually going to the last home game of the Bills, which is January 2nd when they play the Falcons. So
Oh,
I
that's
will
awesome.
be, yeah, I'll be there in attendance with my dad and a couple of my brothers as well. So yeah, I definitely know Buffalo for sure.
Yeah.
And I can relate. Um, growing up, watching games, being around my brother. I'm third or fourth, so I have three brothers.
Oh, nice.
So I have two older brothers and wanting to be like them and wanting to play sports like them and kind of wanting to beat them too as a
Yeah.
younger brother. So definitely understand the closeness that you talk about with you and your brother as well. The question that segued to was the next one was you did go to St. Bonaventure, if I'm saying that
Yes.
correctly. Were there any other schools that could have stole you or persuaded you to go to another school outside of St. Bonaventure?
So actually, it's funny you say that because I was looking at Ithaca and Syracuse University, mainly because
Yep,
they're known for their journalism programs.
yep.
And I did overnights at Ithaca and visited Syracuse. And I also did it at Bonaventure as well. And my mind was made up that I wanted to go to Ithaca because I got in and I got a scholarship there. So I was really excited.
Okay.
But then after visiting Bonaventure, my mind completely changed and I was like, never mind, I want to go to Bonaventure instead. It was
Right.
just like the people, the environment, kind of like that small school feel. Everyone's
Yeah.
super nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like a college, if that makes any sense. And
It does.
only the people who go there kind of understand. It's just this weird thing. We're all like obsessed with St. Bonaventure. I've been out of school for so many years now, and I still never miss an opportunity to tell somebody about how great it is. So yeah, that was, I don't know if there was another school that would sway me, to be honest, to answer your question.
Now that's pretty dope. I mean, you had Ithaca, you had Syracuse, but in the end, St. Bonaventure won your heart. And
Yeah.
obviously, St. Bonaventure is a great school. I know a couple of people myself that went to St. Bonaventure, a couple of my friends. So yeah, it's cool. That's awesome. I want to ask you
Yeah.
some of your favorite things. You just tell me off the rip what some of those favorite things are. Favorite movie genre. Favorite movie genre.
Favorite movie genre?
Yeah.
Probably action. I feel like action movies I'm kind of into a little bit more than anything else.
Okay, I like that. What about favorite music genre?
Favorite music? Ugh, that's tough. I probably pop, like just what everyone's listening to. I'm not really that interesting when it comes to music. I like hip hop too, but not as much as other people, I feel like. So
Okay,
I would say whatever is kind of cool at the time.
I got you. You know, I'm kind of rangy on my Pandora as well. You know, we can go from somebody like Little Baby, Gunna,
Yeah.
but then we can also go all the way to Luke Bryan, something like that.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
definitely have a range of music for sure, no doubt.
Same.
Um, Favorite place you ever traveled to?
Favorite place probably has to be Colombia. I went there back when I was in college for the first time since I
Yeah.
was born there. And that was awesome just because I'm from there. I haven't really seen it since then. And it's a really beautiful place. It was awesome to be able to go. So yeah, that probably has to be my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite sport to play?
To play
Hmm.
golf. A weird one,
Oh,
but golf. Yeah.
wow.
I really like golf. It's fun and I'm like semi-ish good at it. So I like it because of that. But yeah, golf.
You know what? I never would have expected that, but that's why
No,
you can't read books by the cover. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to read
it's
the book.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, I recently got into it. It's one of those things when you actually are able to hit the ball right, it's
yeah,
like a top-notch feeling. You wanna, like, continue to, like, get your score down and everything, so it's fun.
absolutely. I love golf. I just,
Yeah,
when I hit the ball, sometimes it goes to the freeway, and I really don't know where it ends up, but it doesn't end
e
up on the green. That's
exactly. It
for
depends on the
sure.
day, I feel like, with that sport. It depends on the
Right.
day. Like, I don't even know if I'm good or not, like, it depends on the day.
Absolutely. And how much alcohol I consume, pretty much, for sure. Um, what's
Right.
your favorite sport to cover?
To cover? Oof, that's a tough one because I feel like I've covered so much, especially at ESPN.
Yeah.
I wanna say the NBA, I think,
Oh,
was the
okay.
most fun so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basketball. Yeah.
All right. I got a couple more before I move to the next question. Favorite meal to cook?
Meal to cook, man, I'm not much of a cooker, like, I don't really cook a lot of things. Ugh, I don't know. It's probably lame, but pasta. Like, I love pasta, and it's super easy to make,
Yeah.
delicious.
Yes.
So, yeah.
There's nothing lame about that. Hell, everybody loves pasta, girl. Yes, I love that. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. Last one. favorite player or person that you idolize in sports?
Ooh, this is a good one. Probably Jim Kelly, a Bills great, just because of everything he's been through and the fact that he was able to take the team to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row, like,
Yeah,
that's pretty dope, you know?
yeah.
Not win it, but still, yeah, I think just have to pick a Buffalo Bill, I feel like, for that, or a past
Wow.
Buffalo Bill.
I'm sure you watched the 30 for 30 like I did on the Buffalo
Y
Bills when they did that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I actually semi worked on it when I was at NFL Films. I was just a PA. I
yeah,
think I cut, like, one piece of footage, that's it. I didn't get a credit, but I can kinda say I worked on it
yeah,
because I was interning there at the time. So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
But, yeah,
amazing.
that was awesome.
Well, whatever footage you cut, all the footage was great. I mean, that was just
Yeah.
amazing to watch that 30 for 30. I'm a huge sports historian fan, and
Yeah.
obviously those were great teams with Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith. I can go on, and you probably would love it too. So yeah, I love that team, and I wish they would have won a Super Bowl because that was a
Yeah.
damn talented team without question.
Yeah. For sure, for sure.
The next thing I want to ask you is, what kind of internships did you do in undergrad, and what do you do as a digital content producer for DAZN?
Okay, yes. So undergrad, actually, Bonaventure, shout out to Bonaventure again. They helped out with this. They have this program there with Sirius XM Radio
Okay.
where they allow people to go and live in New York City for a summer. It's like kind of like a scholarship-esque kind of thing
Yeah.
where they pay for you to live there and they let you intern with Sirius. And so that I think is what kind of got really started with my sports stuff on my resume
Mhm.
because I interned for Chris Russo, Mad Dog, if you're
Yeah.
familiar with him. He
Yeah.
has his own radio show. Yeah, and I was basically just the person who picked up the phone for the callers and just like wrote down where they were from, their name, and then they speak to him throughout his entire show. Like it's just a
Right.
talk show basically. So
Right.
that was I want to say my biggest internship in regards to undergrad and that I think was really beneficial just to get like a big name out there on your resume. So that was one of them. And then the other thing I did was I interned with the athletics department at
Okay.
Bonaventure.
Yeah.
And that was primarily just working with, honestly, for the basketball season, a little bit of baseball. It was just kind of working on their website and doing like their little news updates and stuff.
Okay. Okay. I like
Yeah.
that. Now, what do you do as a digital content producer for DAZN?
Okay. So for my current job, what I'm doing is I'm working on a Snapchat show for
Okay.
boxing specifically. And honestly, it's still kind of taking shape. It's still in its really early stages. We just launched it back in the end of August.
Okay.
So what we're kind of doing is a mixture of things. There's a lot of like compilations, highlights. We're really trying to appeal to like a younger audience and get some younger kids into boxing.
Right.
Especially because like there's like Jake Paul who's fought, and
Yeah.
all these people who are really driving a younger audience.
Right.
And DAZN actually was one of the first people who broadcasted or like streamed their fight
Yeah.
with Jake Paul before
Yeah.
he's moved on to like Showtime and all the other companies.
Right.
So I think we're just trying to take advantage of a generation that is kind of getting really into the sport of boxing. And for me, I'm a newer fan of boxing. I'm not really that familiar with the sport, but what's fun about it is I'm trying to make content that appeals to everybody and like basic fans, people who aren't really like that knowledgeable in the sport. So right now, as I mentioned, we're doing a lot of compilations. We're also just kind of doing live updates on fight night. So
Okay.
we don't have Fury Wilder, but like if we did, what we probably would do is just update the highlights throughout the entire night, try
Right.
to make it funny, try to make the edits really cool. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. And honestly, it's really awesome because I kind of have complete control over it in regards to what we're doing. So I'm testing out things right now, seeing
Yeah.
what works, measuring the analytics, and like speaking to Snapchat themselves about how we're doing as a show. So that's honestly been really fun. And that's primarily what I do. I also do a little bit of stuff for the platform because DAZN is like an app, a streaming service. So
Absolutely.
basically, right. So what I'm doing is a little bit of content for them, like little features that they promote on their app and that you can like watch the full thing if you get the
Okay.
app. So that's kind of cool, like little interviews with boxers, kind of like featurey stuff like that.
No, I like that, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing what you can do with that. I'm definitely gonna be following you for the rest of the time now because I
Awesome.
always love Dawson. And I love different company sites watching what y'all do as far as promote fights and stuff like that. And this is something different, like you said, kind of a
Yeah.
Snapchat show to appeal to the younger audience. Because boxing is really hit or miss. A lot of the
Yeah.
times, because a lot of fights sometimes get the build up, and then when you get to the fight, it's like, well, damn, that's
Yeah.
a disappointment sometimes. So
Right.
it's good that you're doing something a little different to be able to appeal. So I like that.
Yeah.
Now you talked about being with ESPN before then, and now you're with DAZN, and you've been interning as well. I want to talk to you about your work life and social life balance. Because number one, you seem like a very personable person. I know just talking to you for the first 10, 15 minutes, I wouldn't mind hanging out with you at all. So you seem very personable. But also, I want you not only to talk about your work life, social life balance, talk about your mental health too, because mental health is so important in this industry. How are you able to balance all of that?
Honestly, the brief answer is that it's a difficult thing to do, to be honest, because a lot of times in sports, and I'm sure you know this, they occur at night. The events happen at night, but you need to prepare for them all day. Sometimes they happen on the weekends. Most of the time it happens on the weekends.
Yeah.
So it really, just by signing up for sports, it kind of does interfere with your social life. Sometimes your mental health, depending on, like what kind of worker you are. I think for me personally, I'm the type of person who kind of marries their job, which
Okay.
can be good and can be bad, So I think for me, it's definitely been difficult at times, I think, to find that balance. Because also too, when you love what you do, you want to do it all the time, but sometimes
Yeah.
that comes at a cost. So I
Yeah.
think it really is just about trying to find balance and being able to separate yourself from your job. And I know it's so tough because I know, like, I have a lot of coworkers that I work with who have always wanted to work at ESPN or get opportunities like I have at DAZN or intern wherever they want to. And it's difficult to separate your work life balance when you've been working so hard for this and you finally get the opportunity to do it and you don't want to take a break from it. You want to just dedicate your entire life to it. So for me, it's definitely been difficult. I think the new position that I'm working in right now, I'm really trying to find that good work-life balance.
Yeah.
And it's been good so far in regards to finding that, taking that time, especially when you're focused on one sport. A lot of these other, corporations, when you're working on so many different sports, it's so hard to take a break.
It is.
In every off season, there's a season that's starting up again. And it's so
Right.
fun to be a part of it all. But yeah, it's a difficult thing, honestly. And I think my best advice is just to try to realize that, like, you've earned every opportunity that you've been given. So you can take those breaks. Like, you can take the mental health breaks, you can go on vacation, you can do this or that or whatever. So yeah.
No, that's very very good, Marissa. I really appreciate you answering that because, like I said, even with my schedule that I have right now, which I work full time for the lottery overnight, and I'm also a high school sports reporter slash correspondent covering high school sports. Right now it's football, so we're doing that, and then I also do ESPN as far as broadcast, media
Right.
entertainment. So I also sign up for different games to go out and do that. So yeah, the balance is crazy at times.
It's
And
tough.
we kind
Yeah.
of need that break, right? We need that break to be like, let's exhale. Let's just find something that for us, time for us. So, and I'm such a planner. I'm somebody that, I look at my phone, I have a calendar on my phone, I write all kind of events and stuff and things that I do, and I plan out like months in ahead because I never know, when something is gonna change. So maybe I need to put in something when it does change. But I do like the fact that you said it is difficult, but it is important that you recognize, right? You
Right.
recognize that that balance that you need because some people just go all the time. And when you go
Yeah,
all the time, sometimes you don't realize that, hey, you could be damaging to yourself. So I do like that.
for
I
sure.
want to do some this or that with you. So I'm going
Okay.
to throw out two things, and then you just pick one or the other. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So drive-in or movie theaters?
Driving.
Drive-in. Okay. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Christmas.
Gotcha.
That's an easy one.
I like that. I like that. MJ or LeBron?
MJ.
MJ. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Brady or Montana?
Brady.
Gotcha. Boxing or bowling?
Boxing, of course.
Boxing. No brainer, right?
Yeah.
Basketball or football?
Football.
Softball or lacrosse?
Lacrosse.
Gotcha. See, I threw that in there because I knew you're a Northeast person, and lacrosse is definitely a Northeast thing right there.
Yeah,
So,
I had like a small stint playing lacrosse at one point in high school. Was not good at all, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
okay, I like that. Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
That's that's my girl. All right.
Yes, the
You
spicy
know
chicken
what?
sandwich is
Yes.
top notch.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I got two more for you. Two more.
Okay.
Okay. So Buffalo or Columbia?
Oof, that's tough. I want to say Buffalo right now, just because
Buffalo.
I've been all in on the Buffalo sports, Buffalo things. The Bills
Got
are doing well, so that's a toughie though. It's tough.
got you. Now, is that where you're located right now?
No, I'm actually in Connecticut / New York City sometimes.
Okay.
Because DAZN's located in New York City, but I'm working remotely. So sometimes I'm in New York City, sometimes I'm in Connecticut, which is
Got
where
you.
ESPN was.
Yes.
So yeah, that's why I was there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. Last one. This has to do with chicken wings.
Okay.
Lemon pepper or barbecue?
Barbecue.
Got you. Okay, I like
Barbecue.
it. You know, you're the first one that I've done that with has been really decisive. There's people that's been like, well, I don't know, but I like the decisiveness. I really do. That's really cool. That's what's up. I like it. So the next question I want to ask you is about top events. What would be your top 4 events that you want to cover or do in your career?
Okay. So ones that I still want to do or ones that I've already done?
Still, either or,
Okay.
doesn't matter.
Okay. Because I have some that I've already done, just because they were really wild. The first
Okay.
of which was cover an Olympics, which I got to do
Wow.
for NBC Sports. I
Yeah.
went to the 2016 Rio Olympics, which was super cool. I got
Yeah.
to like actually stay in Rio for like a month and work on like their primetime coverage show. So that
Absolutely.
was really cool. Yeah. That has to, I think, be number one. And then secondly, I would probably say the NBA finals, which I went to with ESPN, which
Okay.
was really cool. Just to be
Okay.
able to I did that in 2019. So that was
Oh,
cool. The Raptors,
and
Warriors.
Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end, it was kind of like, dang, I hope this ends soon, because we have been going back and forth from Toronto to like San
California.
Francisco. Yeah, California. Yeah. So like it was kind of crazy, but at the end, it was a very cool experience overall, just to be able to see like a huge sporting event like that in the United States. That was probably the biggest that I've seen.
Awesome.
And then I think right now, my next thing would probably be to go to a boxing match and actually be there on fight night.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't done that yet since I kind of just started like a month or two ago. I'd like to see the atmosphere there at just something. Canelo would be an awesome one to go to,
Oh
although
my
I don't think I
gosh.
can go to that one. But I'd love to see a Canelo fight, just because I feel like the ring walk, like that whole atmosphere, how hard the fans go for him,
Yeah.
like is insane. I'd love to just be a part of that. And then you said one more, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Okay.
top 4.
Super Bowl, some sort of Super Bowl appearance, preferably the Bills. Maybe this year, probably not, but maybe. That would be awesome to go to actually work and cover. So yeah.
Mine are very similar to
Okay.
yours. NBA Finals, in no particular order. Super Bowl. I would love to go to a March Madness and
Oh
cover
yeah,
that.
that's a good
Uh,
one.
Never, nothing like March Madness. I absolutely love that. And the Olympics. I mean, if you're in sports and you don't want to go to the Olympics, I have to really have to check you right there.
Like,
Yeah,
why are you doing this?
right. Like, what is
Yeah.
going on? Like, right.
Yeah.
The Olympics is just so surreal, and especially since 2028, we're gonna have it here in the United States,
I know.
in Los Angeles. So that would be great. That would be awesome, no doubt. A couple things I wanted to touch up on before we got into the next question, which was
Okay.
I know you talked about the Super Bowl in Buffalo. It's crazy that you say that because the Bills are actually my pick. I picked the Bills and the Rams before the season
Really?
started. I did. I really
That's
did.
awesome. Yeah.
Um, I just think that, you have to go through some things in order to get to the next level. The
Yeah.
Bills went to the AFC Championship last year, and faced the Chiefs, got off to a great start, but couldn't sustain it. Now, ironically, this next week it's a rematch of the AFC
Yeah.
Championship with Buffalo and Kansas City. So and Josh Allen is probably the hottest quarterback right now in the league.
Yeah.
And that Bills team is coming off two of their last three wins were shutouts. They didn't give up any points.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how they face off against the Kansas City team this year, for
Yeah.
sure. So yes, the Bills are my pick, that's for sure. And then the next one I want to talk about was you talked about a Canelo fight, which is a great segue because now I want to kind of get your analysis, put your analysis hat on, and put your opinion hat on. First, I'll talk about that Canelo and Plant fight, which it seemed like it wasn't going to happen at first, but
Yeah.
then they finally got the two sides together. Then they had the epic press conference where, Canelo calls him an MF, or not Canelo, Plant calls him an MF. And Canelo said, "Don't talk about my mom." And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, it goes down. So what do you think is going to happen in this fight? Me personally, I'll go first. I think a knockout is going to happen. I think Canelo is going to knock out Plant probably by the eighth or ninth round. What about you?
I think so too. I think that it's probably going to go to at least the eighth or ninth round, maybe even the 10th, knockout, and definitely Canelo. But I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Hopefully, it won't be as definite of a Canelo win. It's like there's a little back and forth. Like I kind of want it to be like maybe Plant kind of has a chance. You know what I mean? I feel like with a lot of the Canelo fights that I've seen and just kind of like covered, it always kind of seemed like he was always going to win. You know what I mean? So I kind of want a little bit of that surprise element there just because it makes for a better story. But I agree with you. I think the same thing.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. The last time I thought Canelo was in a very close fight was probably one of the Triple G fights. I
Yeah.
think one of those. It was close, but then Canelo kind of separated himself at the end.
Yeah.
This is going to be an emotional fight because
Yeah.
neither boxer likes each other, and
Right.
that's the kind of boxing we kind of want. We kind of want an emotional, good fight. Make sure they both go home to their families, but we want them to put on a good show as well.
For sure. Yeah.
Real quick, Deontay Wilder, Fury. I know you don't have that at the zone, but it is coming up this Saturday. This is
Yeah.
the third fight, where the first one ended in a draw, and Fury dominated Wilder in the second fight. Now, me personally, Wilder had a whole bunch of damn excuses on why he lost the second fight. First it was costume was too heavy, his legs this, and then he a warrior, and I'm like, I don't even want to hear all that. I just want you to come out and box. And Fury feels that he's going to beat him again. What do you think is going to happen in this third fight between these two?
I think Fury's got it this time too. I do.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think so. I feel like every time I root for the other person or think that someone else is going to get it, I'm usually wrong. So I'm going to go with the opposite of what I would have chosen, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So I'm going to go with him. Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I think this one is going to go Fury's way too, but I think that something tells me it's going to go to full 12. Something tells me it's going to go to full distance of unanimous decision. I know they both want to box and be warriors, but these two heavyweights, it's going to be tough to keep a man down this time. Because, like I said, this is emotional. It's the third fight, and a lot of stuff has went into this to get this fight around. So I'm thinking Fury too. How shocked were you with Anthony Joshua losing to Usyk?
I was pretty shocked, to be honest. I really thought that it was just he was going to win. I really, really did. But to be honest, after the first 4 rounds, I was like, I don't think he's going to win. Like once it started happening, I feel like the crowd was kind of silent. Like people didn't really know what to do, like when they were watching over there, because everyone was rooting for Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
And then in the 4th round, it was like, I don't really think he has a very dominating performance right now. Like it doesn't really seem like it's going to be his. And then as it continued, it was like, I don't really know. I feel like there were flashes of life in him, but every time he got something going, Usyk just responded immediately. Like all the highlights that we saw, it was like Anthony Joshua did something, but then 2 seconds later, Usyk did something else. And it was just like, he never really was able to kind of get that momentum going. But I'm hoping that a rematch will occur very soon. And we can kind of see what happens from there. Because Anthony Joshua is such a good fighter. And I think that's why everyone thought he was gonna win. But I feel like a lot of people were not really taking Usyk seriously and
Mhm.
like how great he is. Maybe because he's just not as well known, but
Right.
yeah, for sure. Because he's a great fighter too. And I feel like we all kind of knew that going into it, but no one really highlighted it as much just because Anthony Joshua is as great as he is as well, you know?
Right. The name Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua, big time. He champion, belt holder, and they were talking about him and Fury before Wilder intersected that. Yeah, watching that fight, because I rewatched that fight, and I'm saying to myself, we saw Joshua versus Ruiz the first time, and he kind
Yeah.
of got kind of stunned, and it kind of was similar to that watching the first couple of rounds, but
Yeah.
then I kind of was like, you know what? He just got his number because he was just tagging Joshua and really beating him up in the match. It was one of those things where I think Joshua didn't take Ruiz seriously in that fight. I don't think it was the seriousness that he didn't take Usyk. I think just Usyk had a brilliant game plan against
Oh, yeah.
boxing Anthony Joshua. You could just tell got outboxed in
Yeah.
that match. I was completely shocked because I
Yeah.
thought Joshua would be the aggressor, and he was not. And
No.
he should get a rematch. He should, but whatever game plan his corner came up with, they're going to go back to the drawing board because that game plan was flawed. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
question about that.
Yeah, and I
So,
think even if they do have a rematch, I think Anthony Joshua definitely has a shot, and I think maybe it will follow the same path. It's just faces him one time, the next time he gets it together and he's able to
absolutely.
win. But yeah,
So I like that. I like that. So you worked at ESPN before moving to the Zone.
yes.
What did you learn from working at ESPN that you now take with you at your current job at the Zone?
Oh man, that's like almost everything. I think anything that I've really ever learned, I've kind of taken from my experience at ESPN. Um, just the people there that you work with, I feel like are really great and they're really talented. That you're also kind of put in situations where you're kind of forced to just like rise to the occasion, I guess.
Right. Right.
So I think because of the opportunities that I had at ESPN, it's just prepared me for this position. Just because when I started off at ESPN, it was kind of difficult just because it's so crazy to have worked at ESPN around all these people who are so talented and you like
Yeah.
don't know how to measure up per se. And then they give you opportunities where like I was able to produce a show in like a control room. I have no prior experience to producing or working in a control room in my life. But
Right.
because I had that opportunity, I was kind of put in a position where I'm not as afraid to like take leadership roles as much anymore as I normally
Right.
would be.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of that, and also like working with talent, I was able to work with a lot of really cool talents at ESPN. Um, just kind of being more comfortable with that was really awesome. And yeah, just a lot of stuff about producing, making the right decisions when it comes to creating a show,
Mhm.
editing stuff. I'm really passionate about editing. I really like working in like Adobe, and that was primarily what I worked with in
Yeah.
at ESPN. That was like their program, one of their programs that they use. So honestly, just about everything. I was there for 4 years and 2 months. So a lot of the biggest things that I've learned have come over the past 4 years, I think, for me, because everything else was like, as we mentioned, like internships. They weren't always full-time positions,
Right.
a lot of seasonal stuff.
Right.
So everything that I've learned in the past 4 years, I think has really been so helpful. And I'm starting to notice it now as I'm getting used to this new job. I'm like, oh, wait, this is something that I did at ESPN. Or when I'm doing something, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is how they used to do it. Maybe
Right.
I'll try to mimic that. So it's a lot of stuff that you don't even realize that you've learned until you're in a new situation and you're like, wait, I feel a lot more comfortable about this because of my experience at ESPN and the opportunities that I was given.
Now you talk about a lot about producing.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can see yourself being in front of the camera, or do you just like being behind the scenes, working behind the scenes, doing stuff like that?
It's super weird because I feel like in college, and I'm sure like you've experienced this too, they kind of prepare you to do everything. Like you
Yeah.
had to be in front of the camera, you also
Yeah.
had to edit, you also had to produce, you write your own script, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I think when I was younger in college at the time, I think I was kind of in it to be in front of the camera just because I thought it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
But now as I keep going on in my career, I kind of am starting to like a lot of the other aspects of it a lot more than what I initially kind of went in it for, if that makes sense.
Oh, it
Um,
does.
yeah, so like I think just with some of the projects that I've worked on, I've really enjoyed the editing experience more so than like if I did have the opportunity to be in front of the camera. And even like working with talent, it's so interesting because the talent really listens to the producer and the producer really produces the talent. When you kind of get into the nitty-gritty of things, you realize like they are who they are and they bring the personality, but the people in their ear are really the ones who are running the show, which
Right.
I think is such an awesome thing. And I really like the chaotic energy of like a control room. It's just one of those things where I think you got to be crazy to like it. And I think I might be one of those people who's just crazy enough to be like, I like this chaos. I like trying to like make sure that things go right and
Yeah.
hopefully things don't mess up. So I think over time I've kind of grown to really like other parts of the process a little bit more. And so yeah, I think for me right now my primary goal is to continue to produce stuff and really kind of be more behind the scenes than in front of the camera.
I
Although it
like
didn't
that.
start off that way. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
I know I'm a person that I do love the producing part. I love writing scripts a lot
Yeah.
because writing for print and writing for broadcast is just two different things. But I love both of those.
Right.
And editing is probably one of my worst things. Man,
Uh,
I do hate to edit. I can do it. I just hate to do it for sure.
right.
But editing, Adobe, when you got great softwares, it really doesn't take much to edit stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
Um,
Right.
what are some of the challenges and hurdles that you have faced? Us both being young and pretty much in our primes. What have you faced as far as challenges in the industry? Whether it's occupational, whether it's being a woman in this industry, or whether it's any other kind of challenges that you may have faced.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think the first thing I would start off with is obviously after graduation, I didn't have a job lined up. So, finding a job after graduation was really difficult. And I actually was without a job for in the first couple of years of like after graduation for
Yeah,
like a decent amount of time. At first, it was 6 months when I graduated. And then I got an internship and I started at NFL Films and I was a seasonal employee. So, after
yeah,
that ended, the
yeah,
football season ended, I was out of a job. But then I was supposed to go back for the next season, but there was too much time in between, like I needed employment like throughout the
yeah.
entire year.
Oh yeah,
So it was always a challenge to like find jobs and even getting into ESPN. I interviewed for various positions in the company like 6 or 7 times, I want to say, before I finally landed my first position at ESPN.
yeah,
So there's definitely been a lot of challenges in regards to getting a job and maintaining that job, just because the sports world is such a weird world where things are really busy at one time but then they're not at another time, so they don't necessarily need your work.
right.
So yeah, it definitely, I would say like never give up on that, because for me it was very frustrating at times because I would get positions but they only would be for a project or for a season, and then I had to go back to the job search, and that's never fun. Trying to like get your name out there and like talk to the right people to get interviews for these jobs. And then also, I mean, of course, like being a woman in the sports industry always comes with its own unique set of challenges. What's been helpful though is just the other people who I've worked with in the past have been so, kind. And I think that for me too, I am not as big of a sports fan as I feel like my counterparts are. So I always kind of face challenges there with like my sports knowledge compared to other people who just have played sports, grown up playing sports,
Right.
have been college athletes. Sometimes it's really hard to compare when you haven't played the game before.
Yeah.
But also, with more years of experience, I'm only getting better with that, trying to learn more, trying to pick up whatever sports I can, and also not being afraid of the sports that I don't really know as well. Like boxing, for example, fighting
Right.
sports was never my forte. But just kind of being able to jump right in there has been really helpful. So yeah, definitely challenges in all of those categories, but it has really given me a lot of like learning lessons, and I feel like some stuff that has really helped me get to where I am today. So without those experiences, I don't think that I would be able to, have this cool job that I have now and be able to be in charge of things.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you touched up on that. And the
Yeah.
fact that you touched up on the occupational, saying that you were out of work,
Yeah.
it's admirable for me to hear that from you, for you to keep going, for you to keep wanting to be in this industry, because a lot of people will be discouraged.
Oh yeah.
And not getting work or getting work for a certain amount of time and then being out of work. Because obviously we live in a capitalistic kind of world.
Mhm.
Bills, Uncle Sam comes calling every month for bills.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know that. So
It's really tough. Yeah, it's really
yeah,
tough I feel like in the sports world too for people to come in here and you work for like a season, but it's just sometimes that's just not sustainable and it's difficult because I've seen a lot of people get these kind of opportunities, but they can't take them
right,
because it's not guaranteed work. And it stinks because there are a lot of really talented people out there who deserve these positions, who deserve these opportunities that can't get them because the work is just for 6 months or it's for the
right.
football season. And it's really difficult out there sometimes. But yeah, again, like not giving up and being able to have the right people around you to kind of encourage you to keep moving forward
Yes.
is key. But yeah, also like if you're a college grad or you're about to graduate, start applying like right away. That was the one thing that I regretted not doing. I kind of waited until the end. So I kind of made it worse for myself, but at the same time, it's definitely a tough industry. So like never get discouraged, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to break in full time myself. Still doing the part time thing, but like you
Yeah.
said, it's important for people that are preparing to graduate, sorry, college, that
Yeah.
they should be able to get on this immediately, right away, knowing what
Right.
you want to do, and then go after it for sure. I'm glad you talked about the support system because it's always good to have a great support system around you.
For sure.
If you obviously didn't have a great support system, things could be different. The last thing I wanted to touch upon before I got to the next question was you talked about being a woman in this industry and coming with its own set of challenges. I could certainly relate to you. Obviously, I'm African American, and there's not a whole lot of African American men in this industry as far as sports writers and different things of that nature. Um, and there's not a whole lot of women in roles either. You sometimes you walk into a room and you're the only woman in there, or maybe there's one other woman in there with you, and they look at you like, should you belong? And
Right.
you know confidently that you know that you should belong. And there needs to be more roles, communicative sports roles for women that cannot be overstated enough. And that's why I think we're a minority in the sports industry. And it's good to keep pushing the needle and keep talking about things like that because it can't be overstated enough that we should get more opportunities. Just the
Oh yeah.
opportunity to be able to do
Yeah.
would help out more for sure. Um, this last question I have for you is for advice. What advice has someone allocated to you or you have given someone about being in the sports industry that you hold on dearly to?
Man, this is a good one. I had a producer back when I worked at ESPN who was very helpful and very kind to me. Kind of similar to what we were talking about. I was working on a team where I was the only woman in the room at all times
Yeah.
for a while. This particular person gave me the opportunity to produce a show.
Okay.
Um, and it was one of those things where, again, only woman on the team, also wasn't very confident with like my sports knowledge and my skills at large. I didn't have a lot of confidence at the time. And this person just gave me that confidence. I don't even know if they realized what they were doing at the time, but they gave me the opportunity and I was super nervous about it. And they just kind of told me that I could do it and that I had it. And
Right.
um, honestly, simple words and not anything crazy, nothing like super inspirational per se. But to be able to be given that opportunity, someone was definitely looking out for me there, and I'm really thankful for that. Just because it helped my confidence grow. It definitely put me in uncomfortable situations because I didn't know what I was doing a lot of the time. But this
Right.
person's confidence in me helped me gain the confidence in myself. So I think that was honestly the most helpful advice that someone could give me, just believing in me and allowing me to do something that they had previously done that they believed I could do as well. So yeah,
I like that. No, that's great. Giving someone confidence is key. You
yeah,
never know what is actually said sometimes. Sometimes it just could be a certain kind of sentence, a certain belief in someone, and that's all you need to go off on. I
right.
did have a bonus question for you. I know you said if it wasn't sports, because I know you said the sports knowledge is iffy. You know about some, but not about a whole lot. But
Yeah.
what other genres or what other things does Marissa partake in when she's not focusing on sports?
Honestly, I've always talked about this and I don't know if I could actually do it, but I'm really interested in finance. Like I want to be like a finance. I would have wanted to be a finance person. I don't know if my mathematical skills are up to par, but I would love to be like a finance bro, to be honest. Like I would love to be able to do that just because I feel like I could be good at it and I'm like
Yeah,
really interested in how all that stuff works. However, it's like a little bit too advanced for me. Like there's a
right,
reason I'm in sports and it's
right.
because I was not good at math and science. So, yeah, like but that's something that's always been interesting for me. So maybe that.
You know what? I'm being shocked by this interview for real. A lot of finance. That's what's up.
Yeah,
I
no,
love it.
it's weird. Yeah, I feel like I've been on TikTok too much too. People are like telling me how to save my money, invest my money. Like I want to know how to do that. Like
Right.
it seems cool.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
Just a couple more things before I let you head up out of here. So, um, I wanted to say that I have an Instagram, and a LinkedIn and a Twitter. I am following you on LinkedIn, and on Instagram, I believe. And if you have a Twitter, I'll follow you there as well. I would love it if you follow me back because I want to follow your journey. And
Yes.
obviously, I want to stay in contact with you because you seem like a wonderful person. That's for sure. The last thing I wanted to say was if you see any occupations as far as jobs available, with not just the zone, but any kind of sports related communication jobs that I don't get a chance to see, please don't hesitate to shoot it my way because
For
I'll
sure.
definitely take a look at it for sure. That's no doubt. I just want to thank you for coming on to the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I felt like I got to know you a little bit more. I mean, barbecue, barbecue wings you like, golf
Yes.
is something that you partake in pretty good. And then being able to work at ESPN, go to St. Bonaventure, had internships, and then not only that, but now at the Zone, creating a new Snapchat program to be able to enlighten the younger youth about boxing and be able to get them into it. I'm looking forward to whenever that's a finished product because I'm looking forward to seeing that. I believe you do great things. It's apparent that you really do because you wouldn't be at ESPN or the Zone if you didn't. And I love how driven you are and just how passionate you are and how excited you are. Because it's like I said, it's admirable to me, and I love seeing it. So I always conclude my conversations like this. Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
Honestly, I don't know. I feel like we covered a lot of it. I would just say best advice, just never give up. If you think that I haven't been in your shoes before, I have been. I feel like I've gone through a lot in regards to trying to find different jobs
Yeah,
and wondering if I was cut out for this, wanting to quit, wanting to give up, and just don't ever do that, basically. If you want something, go after it. You can 100% do it. There's always a way. There's always a way to figure stuff out. So don't give up. I'm happy that I didn't. Sometimes I still feel like I do want to quit, but it's definitely one of
right.
those things where it's like you got to keep going. Still got work to do, still got stuff to do. And
That's
yeah,
right. That's
yep.
right. I like that. Thank you. Never give up. Well, Marissa, you take care and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and your week. You know I'm gonna definitely be in touch with you. So you take
Thank you
care.
so much. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate chatting with you.
Oh no, no doubt. You take care.
All right, you
Bye.
too. Bye.